What if your brain was mostly missing, yet you lived a perfectly normal life? In France, doctors discovered something that defied everything we know about the human brain. A 44-year-old man visited a hospital complaining of mild leg weakness. Doctors ordered a brain scan expecting something routine. What they found was extraordinary. His skull was almost entirely filled with fluid, leaving only a thin layer of brain tissue. 90% of his brain cavity was consumed by cerebrospinal fluid, yet this man worked as a civil servant, was married, and had 2 children. His IQ measured slightly below average, but he functioned completely independently every single day. Scientists were stunned. How could someone think, feel, and function with so little brain? This condition, called hydrocephalus, slowly replaced his brain tissue over decades. His brain adapted remarkably, rewiring itself to survive with almost nothing remaining. This case forever changed how scientists understand the incredible resilience of the human brain. What if you woke up one day convinced you were already dead? This terrifying reality is called Cotard's delusion, a rare psychiatric condition. Sufferers genuinely believe their body, organs, or soul no longer exist. They walk among the living, feeling completely hollow inside. Some stop eating, believing their stomach has completely disappeared forever. Others refuse medical care, convinced nothing inside them can be saved. Doctors believe damaged brain circuits distort self-awareness and emotional recognition. Brain scans reveal dramatically reduced activity, almost resembling a sleeping mind. Patients often visit graveyards, feeling deeply connected to the deceased. Antidepressants and electroconvulsive therapy have successfully revived some patients completely. One man recovered and described his experience as waking from an endless nightmare. Cotard's delusion reminds us how fragile yet extraordinary the human mind truly is. What if you could never feel pain? It sounds like a superpower, but for some people, it's a terrifying reality. This rare condition is called congenital insensitivity to pain, or CIP, affecting only a handful of people worldwide. Those born with CIP cannot feel any physical pain, no matter how severe their injuries become. Pain exists for a reason. It warns us when something is wrong, protecting our bodies from serious damage. Without pain signals, people with CIP unknowingly injure themselves repeatedly, often without realizing the damage being done. Children with this condition frequently break bones, bite through their tongues, or damage their eyes without any awareness. Doctors struggle to diagnose internal injuries because patients feel absolutely nothing, making treatment incredibly challenging and dangerous. The nervous system of CIP patients fails to transmit pain signals, leaving the body completely vulnerable and unprotected. Many sufferers develop severe joint damage and infections because repeated injuries go unnoticed and untreated for far too long. Surprisingly, people with CIP still experience emotions, temperature, and touch. Only the pain signal is completely missing. Scientists are studying CIP patients to develop better painkillers, hoping to unlock revolutionary treatments for chronic pain sufferers worldwide. Pain is not the enemy. It is our body's greatest protector, and life without it is far more dangerous than you ever imagined. What if ancient healers performed brain surgery thousands of years ago and their patients actually lived? This is trepanation, one of the oldest known surgical procedures in human history. Ancient surgeons drilled, scraped, or cut holes directly into living human skulls. No modern anesthesia, no sterile operating rooms, just raw human courage and primitive tools. Archaeologists have discovered thousands of trepanned skulls across every inhabited continent on Earth. Some skulls show clear evidence of bone regrowth around the surgical openings. That regrowth proves these patients survived, sometimes for many years after surgery. In Peru alone, researchers found over 800 trepanned skulls from ancient civilizations. Survival rates were remarkably high, sometimes exceeding modern battlefield surgery of the 1800s. Surgeons likely performed these operations to relieve pressure, treat seizures, or remove bone fragments. Ancient healers understood the human brain far more than we ever imagined possible. Thousands of years before modern medicine, humanity was already pushing the boundaries of survival. Beneath the streets of Paris lies a secret so dark, most people never dare to discover it. Hidden deep underground is a labyrinth of tunnels stretching over 300 kilometers. These tunnels hold the remains of over 6 million people, silently resting in the darkness. Paris was once facing a catastrophic crisis. Its cemeteries were dangerously overflowing. Disease spread rapidly through the city as bodies contaminated the soil and water supply. Desperate authorities made a shocking decision: move the dead underground. Beginning in 1786, millions of bones were carefully transferred into the abandoned quarry tunnels. Workers arranged the bones with surprising artistry, creating haunting patterns along the walls. The tunnels became known as the catacombs, an underground empire of the dead. Today, the catacombs attract nearly 2 million visitors every single year. But vast sections remain sealed off, hiding mysteries that have never been fully explored. Beneath every step you take in Paris, 6 million souls rest in eternal silence. What if the key to solving murders lay in studying death itself? Welcome to the Body Farm. Tucked away in secret locations across America, these forensic research facilities hold a chilling purpose. Scientists place human bodies outdoors, exposing them to nature's raw and unforgiving elements. Rain, heat, insects, and soil all become part of a carefully observed scientific experiment. Researchers document every stage of decomposition, recording precise timelines of nature's transformation process. These timelines become powerful tools, helping investigators determine exactly when a person died. Even insects play a crucial role. Blowflies arrive within minutes, becoming nature's tiny timekeepers. By studying insect activity, forensic entomologists can pinpoint a death's timeline with remarkable accuracy. Different environments dramatically change decomposition. Buried bodies, shaded areas, and open fields tell different stories. This knowledge has helped crack cold cases, identify victims, and bring justice to countless families. Body farm donors willingly contribute their remains, turning death into a powerful gift for justice. Science transforms the darkest corners of death into light, giving voices to those who can no longer speak. For decades, doctors dismissed an elderly woman's pain as nothing serious. She lived with unexplained agony, year after year, with no answers. Doctors ran tests, shrugged, and sent her home repeatedly. Then one surgery changed everything, revealing something unimaginable inside her body. Hidden inside her was a calcified fetus, over 40 years old. Decades ago, her pregnancy had gone undetected and tragically unresolved. Her body couldn't expel it, so it did something extraordinary instead. Her immune system wrapped the fetus in calcium, turning it to stone. This was her body's way of protecting her from deadly infection. This rare and astonishing condition is known as lithopedion, stone baby. Only a few hundred cases have ever been recorded throughout human history. The human body's will to survive is more powerful than we ever imagined. Before antibiotics existed, doctors faced a terrifying enemy: syphilis, a disease that slowly destroyed the human body and mind. In the early 1900s, syphilis was a death sentence, spreading silently and leaving victims paralyzed, blind, and mentally broken. Desperate for a cure, an Austrian physician named Julius Wagner Jaureg proposed something that sounds absolutely unthinkable today. He would deliberately infect syphilis patients with malaria, weaponizing one deadly disease against another. His theory was bold. Malaria triggers extreme fevers, and those raging fevers could potentially burn the syphilis bacteria alive. Patients burned with uncontrollable temperatures, their bodies becoming battlegrounds between two merciless diseases fighting for dominance. Some patients miraculously survived, their syphilis symptoms fading as the fever raged through their bloodstream like wildfire. But others were not so fortunate. The fevers spiraled beyond control, and patients died in absolute agony. Nurses and doctors watched helplessly as some patients screamed through uncontrollable convulsions, their bodies surrendering to the fever. Yet the results were undeniable. A significant number of patients recovered from a disease that had previously offered no hope. In 1927, the Nobel Committee recognized Wagner Jareg's controversial breakthrough, awarding him the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine. His story reminds us that medicine's greatest breakthroughs often walk a razor's edge between genius and absolute madness. What if a metal rod blasted through your skull and you survived to tell the tale? This is the unbelievable true story of Phineas Gage, a railroad worker who defied death itself. In 1848, Gage was packing explosive powder into rock using a long iron tamping rod. Suddenly, a spark ignited the powder, triggering a catastrophic explosion beneath him. The iron rod launched like a rocket, entering through his left cheek at tremendous force. It tore straight through his skull, exiting from the very top of his head. Witnesses were horrified. Yet Phineas Gage remained conscious, sitting upright and speaking calmly. He walked to a cart, rode into town, and described everything that had just happened. Doctors were stunned. His body survived, but something invisible had been permanently destroyed. Gage's personality transformed completely. Once kind and responsible, he became impulsive, rude, and unstable. His case revealed that the brain controls personality, a revolutionary discovery that changed science forever. Phineas Gage's tragedy became the foundation of modern neuroscience, proof that we are our brains. What if the dead weren't always truly dead? History reveals a chilling practice that changed everything we know about death. Centuries ago, people feared one terrifying fate above all others: being buried alive. Medical knowledge was limited, and distinguishing deep unconsciousness from actual death was nearly impossible. People would fall into comas, appearing completely lifeless, with no detectable pulse or breathing. Terrified communities began keeping bodies in special waiting mortuaries for several days before burial. These mortuaries were carefully monitored, with attendants watching for any signs of life returning. Some mortuaries even attached strings to the fingers of the deceased, connected to bells above. If the body moved even slightly, the bell would ring, alerting attendants immediately. Documented cases confirmed that some bodies did indeed show signs of life during this waiting period. These terrifying accounts fueled widespread public panic and reshaped how societies approached death rituals. Waiting mortuaries became widespread across Europe, particularly in Germany, during the 18th and 19th centuries. This haunting chapter of history reminds us how fragile the boundary between life and death truly is.